The unexpected encounter. The city of Varlock was alive with chaos, a constant hum of engines, alarms, and alien voices echoing through the narrow streets. The buildings were tall, metallic, and sharp, their surfaces reflecting the harsh light of a twin sun. Amid the crowd, humans were rare, and anyone wandering openly risked attention. But one human moved carefully, his eyes sharp, his steps quiet. He had learned quickly that survival here required more than skill. It required caution and courage. Ethan had been in Varlock for only a few days, but he already knew enough about the city to understand its danger. Alien gangs ruled the lower sectors, while the alien police maintained order with strict rules and harsh punishments. Ethan had heard stories of humans who tried to intervene in gang matters. They rarely lived to tell the tale, yet something deep inside him would not let him turn away from injustice. It was during a routine supply run that Ethan first saw her, the gang leader's wife, a striking figure even among the alien citizens. Her presence commanded attention without effort. Her eyes were wide with fear, and she struggled against the firm grip of two alien police officers. She had tried to pass through a restricted area, perhaps unknowingly, but the officers showed no mercy. Their voices were sharp and alien, their movements fast and threatening, and the crowd parted watching silently, unsure if anyone would dare to intervene. Ethan's heart pounded as he assessed the situation. He could see the fear in her eyes, and it was enough. The instinct to protect overcame the careful calculation that usually kept him safe. With a swift movement, he stepped forward, his voice cutting through the tense air. "Let her go," he said calmly, though his eyes were alert and ready for any sudden attack. The alien officers froze, clearly unprepared for a human to challenge them openly. Their expressions twisted in confusion and anger. One of them stepped forward, a menacing weapon drawn. "This does not concern you, human," it hissed. Ethan's hands moved quickly, deflecting the first strike and pushing the officer back. His movements were precise, practiced, every step calculated to defend himself while protecting the alien woman. The crowd gasped, some cheering silently for the human. Others shrank back in fear, unsure whether to intervene or flee. The woman's eyes widened further as Ethan moved closer, shielding her from the aggressive officers. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling but curious. Ethan gave her a small nod. "Someone who won't let them hurt you," he replied, his voice steady, betraying none of the tension he felt inside. The officers hesitated, their surprise giving Ethan a small advantage. He grabbed the woman's hand gently but firmly, pulling her away from the immediate threat. She stumbled at first, unsure whether to trust him, but something in his gaze, in the resolve he carried, made her instinctively follow. They weaved through the crowd, dodging alien patrols and security drones. The city seemed to close around them, every alley and street a potential trap. As they ran, Ethan noticed small details, the cameras that scanned the streets, the patrols that moved in patterns, and the secret paths only someone familiar with the city could know. He led her through a maze of alleys, past crates and machinery, each step measured, each turn chosen to avoid detection. "Why are you helping me?" she asked finally, her voice quieter now. Not from fear, but from curiosity. Ethan glanced at her briefly. "Because I can," he said simply, "and because no one should face this alone." Suddenly, a loud alarm blared through the sector. Red lights flashed across the walls, and distant footsteps echoed. The alien police had realized she was missing. The city had turned hostile in an instant. Ethan's heart raced as he ducked behind a large crate, pulling her down with him. "Stay low," he whispered. "We can't be seen now." She nodded, her fear now mixed with determination, trusting him completely despite the chaos around them. For a moment silence fell, broken only by distant sirens and the faint hum of engines. Ethan peeked over the crate, scanning for patrols. He had seconds to plan their next move. Every choice mattered. One wrong step could mean capture or worse. He took a deep breath, focusing his mind. The city was alive, dangerous, and unpredictable. But so was he, and he would not let her fall back into the hands of those who sought to harm her. As they prepared to move again, the first hints of dawn touched the metal surfaces of Varlock. The city seemed endless, full of danger, but for the first time the woman felt hope. Hope that someone, a human, had risked everything to protect her. Ethan led the way through the shadowed streets, unaware that their actions had already set in motion events far larger than either of them could imagine. Outside the alleys, in the distant orbit, something stirred. Ships moving quietly, watching, waiting, preparing to descend. And in that moment, Ethan realized that saving her was only the beginning. The real challenge, the real danger, was yet to come. On the run. The streets of Varlock twisted like a labyrinth, narrow alleys and towering structures creating a maze few outsiders could navigate. Ethan's grip on the alien woman's hand tightened as they ran, his eyes constantly scanning for patrols, drones, and hidden dangers. Every corner held a potential ambush. Every shadow could conceal a threat. Behind them, the alien police shouted orders, their voices sharp and commanding. Echoes of their footsteps bounced off the metallic walls, growing louder with every second. Ethan led her through a series of hidden passages he had memorized from observation. Small crawlways, maintenance shafts, and forgotten service tunnels became their lifeline. The alien woman stumbled once, nearly falling into a narrow pit, but Ethan caught her effortlessly. "Keep moving," he urged, his voice low but firm. "We can't stop now." She began to understand that this human was different, calm in chaos, clever in danger, and fearless when others would have panicked. "Why are they after me?" she asked, breathless but determined. Ethan glanced at her, his face serious. "Because you are important, to more than just your gang. The police want control, but others, they want power." He didn't explain further, sensing that revealing too much now could distract her from survival. As they ducked through a dimly lit alley, a sudden flash of light caught their eyes. Security drones hovered above, their sensors scanning for movement. Ethan dropped to the ground, pulling her down beside a stack of crates. The drones swept over them, mechanical eyes glowing ominously. But Ethan had anticipated this. He had studied their patterns. "When they pass, we move," he whispered, pressing his back against the cold metal. Every muscle in his body was tense, ready to act. The alien woman's eyes widened as she realized the danger was far greater than she had imagined. "I've never seen anyone move like this," she said, awe mingled with fear. Ethan didn't respond. Words were useless now. Actions mattered more. He timed the movements perfectly, rolling out from the cover just as the drones passed, dragging her along. Every step was a calculated risk, a gamble that could mean life or death. They emerged into a larger street, but it was no safer. Alien gangs controlled these open zones, and Ethan knew they couldn't confront them head-on. Instead, he used distractions, tossing a small device that emitted bright flashes and loud noises. The gangs reacted instinctively, giving them a few precious moments to slip past, but Ethan knew this was only temporary. "We need a safer place," he muttered, scanning the rooftops and alleys. "Somewhere they won't expect." Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of them, blocking their path. Ethan froze for a split second, then recognized the intruder. It was one of the gang leader's lieutenants, a tall, armored alien with a menacing expression. "Going somewhere?" it asked. Voice cold and mocking, the alien woman stepped back instinctively, fear flashing across her face, but Ethan didn't hesitate. He assessed the situation and acted quickly, grabbing a loose pipe from the ground and swinging it with precise force. The lieutenant staggered, surprised by the human's sudden ferocity, giving them a window to escape. As they ran again, Ethan noticed something strange in the sky. Distant shadows of massive ships moved silently above the city. The alien woman gasped. "Those are warships, hundreds of them," she whispered, terror evident in her voice. Ethan nodded grimly, realizing their danger had escalated beyond anything he had faced before. "They're coming for you," he said, his voice steady but heavy, "and we need to be ready." They ducked into an abandoned market, crates and debris forming a temporary barricade. Ethan caught his breath for a moment, scanning the area for hidden threats. "We can't stay here long," he said. "Once they know where you are, every corner of the city will be crawling with them." The alien woman looked at him, eyes wide with both fear and trust. "I don't understand. Why are you helping me? If the police catch us, we're done." Ethan met her gaze, unwavering, "Because no one else will, and because I won't let them take you." A sudden tremor shook the ground, dust falling from the ceiling, and a distant roar echoed through the city streets. Ethan's heart sank as he realized it was not just the police. The 200 warships had begun their descent, closing in faster than anyone could anticipate. The alien woman clutched his arm, her fear palpable. "We don't have much time," Ethan said, already calculating their next move. "We need to get to the river tunnels. They're our only chance." With no hesitation, they sprinted toward the hidden entrance Ethan had memorized, every step a fight against exhaustion, fear, and the city itself. They ducked under scaffolding, leapt over fallen debris, and narrowly avoided patrols that blocked their path. The hum of engines and distant alarms filled the air, and the shadow of the approaching armada loomed larger with every passing second. Finally, they reached the entrance to the river tunnels, dark, wet, and twisting like a serpent beneath the city. Ethan paused, looking back at the streets above, the distant glint of ships visible against the horizon. "Once we're inside, we're not safe yet," he said, his voice grim. "But it's our best chance." The alien woman nodded, gripping his hand tightly, courage replacing some of her fear. They slipped into the darkness together, disappearing from sight, leaving the chaos of Varlock above, unaware that their actions had already begun to change the fate of an entire alien fleet. And deep above, the warships continued their silent approach, 200 shadows moving like predators ready to strike, as Ethan led the alien gang leader's wife into the unknown. The arrival of the armada. The river tunnels were dark, wet, and suffocating. Ethan's footsteps echoed softly against the damp walls, guiding the alien gang leader's wife through the twisting path. The smell of algae and machinery filled the air. Every shadow seemed alive. Every sound above, footsteps, engines, distant shouts, reminded them of the relentless pursuit that followed. Ethan paused at a narrow bend, pressing his back against the cold wall. "We have to be careful now," he whispered. "They're closer than we think." The alien woman's eyes were wide, her fear mixing with awe. "I can hear them." "The ships? They're massive," she said, voice trembling. Ethan nodded grimly. "Yes, and they're not just coming, they're hunting." Above the tunnels, the first wave of 200 warships descended, their hulls glinting under the twin suns. Each vessel bristled with weapons, their engines humming like a chorus of predators. The alien gangs and police below scrambled in panic, realizing that their city, their authority, was about to be shattered. Ethan peered through a small grate. Watching the ships move with deadly precision, he could see thousands of alien soldiers preparing, yet none had noticed the human and the woman moving beneath them. Suddenly, a deep tremor shook the tunnels, dust falling from the ceiling. The alien woman gasped. They can feel us. Can they track us?" Ethan didn't answer immediately. He was assessing, calculating every possibility flashing through his mind. "They can detect activity above, but tunnels are safe. For now," he said. "We have to move fast before they adapt." They ran through the twisting network, dodging old pipes and puddles, every step a test of endurance and focus. Suddenly, a sharp metallic sound echoed behind them. A patrol drone had entered the tunnels, its sensors scanning methodically. Its single glowing eye turned in their direction, and a low mechanical hum filled the air. Ethan pulled the woman into a hidden alcove, pressing her against the wall. He held his breath, waiting, calculating. The drone swept past without noticing them, but only just, emerging into a larger chamber. Ethan saw an abandoned control hub. Rusted panels and flickering monitors littered the floor. "We can hide here for a moment," he said. Leading her inside, he scanned the monitors, recognizing some alien signals still active. The moment of calm allowed him to plan. "We can use this to our advantage," he murmured. "We can trick them, confuse them." The alien woman looked at him, her fear replaced by admiration. "You're incredible," she whispered. "Why do you risk so much for me?" Ethan shook his head slightly. "Because I don't run from wrongs. And because someone has to." His words, though simple, carried weight, filling the dark chamber with a strange sense of hope. Above them, the alien armada positioned themselves strategically, 200 vessels forming a perfect grid around the city. Their massive size and sheer number made the air vibrate, signaling an invasion unlike anything Varlock had ever seen. Ethan knew that if they surfaced too early, they would be detected. Trapped and overwhelmed, he needed a plan, a way to fight without being noticed, and time was running out. Suddenly, a faint alarm echoed from one of the tunnel entrances. Alien reinforcements had discovered part of the network. The sound triggered a surge of adrenaline in Ethan. "We have no choice," he said, grabbing a small device from his belt. It emitted a pulse that jammed communications temporarily, creating confusion above. The alien woman watched, eyes wide, as lights flickered across the warships and several vessels veered off course. Their coordination disrupted, but the relief was temporary. A massive shadow loomed above the chamber's ceiling. A sleek alien commander ship had noticed the disturbance. Its searchlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the tunnels faintly. Ethan pulled the woman behind a console, holding her close. "They're getting smarter," he muttered. "We have to move now." As they ran, Ethan realized that survival was no longer enough. They had to fight back, even if it meant risking everything. The armada above was not just a threat, they were a challenge, a test of human courage and ingenuity. Every step they took brought them closer to confrontation, and deeper into danger. At the tunnel exit, Ethan paused for a split second, peering at the city above. The armada had descended fully now, their weapons glowing ominously. Alien police and gang forces scattered below, chaos erupting in every sector. "This is it," Ethan said under his breath. "The moment we either survive or make them regret underestimating us." With that, he took the alien woman's hand once more, leading her into the final stretch of the tunnels, their shadows merging with the darkness, ready to face the coming storm. The armada above rumbled like 1,000 beasts preparing to strike, unaware that a single human below could turn their plans upside down. And as the first beams of the alien fleet's weapons cut across the horizon, Ethan and the woman vanished into the labyrinth, setting the stage for a confrontation that would shake the galaxy. The ultimate confrontation. The tunnels opened into a vast underground chamber, a forgotten section of Varlock City long abandoned. Shadows stretched across the walls, and broken machinery littered the floor. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what was about to happen. Above, the alien armada hovered like a storm, 200 warships ready to strike, their hum vibrating through the walls. Each ship bristled with weapons, ready to annihilate anything in their path, and yet, Ethan knew that running was no longer an option. He turned to the alien gang leader's wife, who now stood beside him, her fear replaced by determination. "We have to fight," Ethan said firmly, his eyes scanning the room for resources. Broken machinery, fallen pipes, and even parts of old drones could be weapons. The alien woman nodded, her jaw set. "Then let's show them we're not easy prey," she replied, her voice steady and strong. Outside, the first volleys of the armada's weapons lit up the city above, beams of energy slicing through streets and towers. Panic spread among the alien gangs and police alike. Ethan seized the moment, activating a small device that emitted pulses, disrupting the armada's targeting systems. Sparks flew from the walls as old power conduits overloaded, creating a chaotic environment. The ground shook beneath them, and smoke filled the air. Suddenly, the entrance to the chamber exploded inward. A squad of alien enforcers pouring in. Their armor gleamed in the harsh light. Weapons drawn and aimed. Ethan grabbed a heavy metal pipe, swinging it with precise force, knocking 2 enemies to the ground. The alien woman, surprisingly agile, kicked and dodged. Her movements sharp and effective together, they became a whirlwind of coordinated attack, human skill paired with alien instinct. One of the enforcers lunged at Ethan from the side, but he ducked, using the momentum to hurl the attacker into a stack of crates. The crates toppled, blocking part of the entrance temporarily. But there was no time to celebrate. More enemies advanced, and above them, the armada's searchlights cut through the chamber's roof, their presence looming like a predator ready to strike. Ethan's mind raced, calculating, improvising. "We can't hold them here forever," he said urgently. "We need to turn the tables." He spotted the remains of an old maintenance drone, wires exposed and energy core still active. He quickly rigged it, setting a trap. When the enforcers advanced again, he triggered the device, and a blinding flash of energy surged through the chamber, sending enemies sprawling and creating a path for escape. The alien woman stared at him, amazement and trust in her eyes. "You're incredible," she breathed. But there was no time for praise. The armada above was now fully aware of the human presence. Ships began to descend closer, weapons locking on the tunnel's exit. Ethan realized brute force alone would not win this fight. He needed strategy, cunning, and speed. He pointed to a narrow ledge along the wall, partially collapsed but climbable. "We move there," he instructed, leading her up. Using debris as cover, they advanced, dodging laser fire that cut across the chamber, each shot missed by inches, smoke and sparks filling the air. Above them, the armada unleashed smaller attack drones, swarming into the chamber like metallic insects. Ethan grabbed a fallen drone arm, using it to knock incoming drones off balance. Their movements were precise, human intuition guiding improvised weaponry. Finally, they reached a vantage point overlooking the main exit. The alien gang leader's wife looked down, seeing the streets above ablaze. Her heart pounded at the scale of destruction, but Ethan's calm presence steadied her. "This is our chance," he said, scanning for weaknesses. "We hit them where they least expect it." Using the chamber's old power conduits, Ethan created a series of electromagnetic pulses, disrupting communications and control signals of several warships above. Some of the alien ships spun out of formation, colliding and causing chaos among their ranks. The alien woman acted swiftly, releasing a set of signal disruptors she had carried secretly. The combined effect was immediate. The armada above faltered, lasers firing wildly, some striking each other in confusion. Below, the enforcers were disoriented, giving Ethan and the woman the chance to strike decisively. They moved together with unmatched coordination, knocking down any enemy that dared approach. As the chaos raged, Ethan realized something extraordinary. Humanity's presence, though small, had shaken the alien armada. His mind raced with possibilities. They could survive, they could win, and perhaps, just perhaps, this human ingenuity and courage could turn the tide of the entire conflict. With a final burst of energy, Ethan and the alien woman surged forward, breaking through the remaining enforcers. Emerging into the open city streets, the chaos above reaching a crescendo, the armada faltered, some ships retreating, unsure of what this single human and one alien woman could accomplish. Breathing heavily, the alien woman turned to Ethan, awe and gratitude shining in her eyes. "I never imagined anyone could do this," she said, her voice trembling but strong. Ethan shook his head slightly. "This is just the beginning," he replied, knowing that the real challenge was still ahead. The armada was still there above, waiting, watching, and planning their next move. And as the twin suns of Varlock reflected off the distant ships, Ethan and the alien woman prepared to face whatever came next. The ultimate confrontation proving that courage, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the deadliest forces in the galaxy. Resolution and humanity's triumph. The streets of Varlock were in chaos, smoke curling from collapsed buildings, alarms screaming across the city, and the distant hum of alien warships still resonating above. Yet amidst the devastation, Ethan and the alien gang leader's wife stood together, their breaths heavy, their hearts pounding. The human had led her through danger, and now the full scope of their actions was becoming clear. Above them, the alien armada hesitated, disoriented by the humans' clever tactics in the tunnels in the city below. Hundreds of ships hovered like predators, unsure of their prey. Some had retreated, others fired blindly, unsure of how a single human could disrupt the entire formation. Ethan's mind raced, calculating the next move. He knew this was their final chance, their ultimate opportunity to turn the battle entirely in their favor. "Look," he said, pointing to a narrow channel in the city's main power grid. "If we trigger it, it could disable their targeting systems temporarily." The alien woman nodded, understanding immediately. "It's risky," she warned. "If it fails, we won't survive." Ethan glanced at her, determination in his eyes. "We don't have a choice," he replied, gripping her hand. "We have to act now." They sprinted toward the grid, ducking behind broken walls and flaming vehicles, each step taking them closer to certain danger. Alien drones swarmed from the sides, energy beams cutting through the air. But Ethan and the woman moved with precision. Dodging and weaving, the adrenaline surged through them both, sharpening their senses. Every decision could be life or death. Finally, they reached the control hub, wires and terminals exposed. Ethan worked swiftly, rerouting energy through the city's old power conduits. His fingers flew across the panel, bypassing security protocols. The alien woman assisting by holding the disruptive signal devices. Sparks flew, the hum of electricity growing louder, and then a massive surge erupted, sending blinding energy pulses into the air. Above, the alien armada shuddered. Weapons faltering, communication lines jammed, ships collided in confusion, lasers firing wildly, some striking their own vessels. The chaos created a perfect opportunity. Ethan and the woman emerged from their cover, sprinting into the open streets. Using makeshift weapons and the city's debris, they struck at the alien police and remaining enforcers. Their movements coordinated, precise, unstoppable. For a moment, silence fell, broken only by the distant hum of failing engines. The alien gang leader's wife looked at Ethan, awe and gratitude shining in her eyes. "I never thought a human could do this," she whispered. Her voice trembling, Ethan smiled faintly, exhaustion lining his face. "It's not about being human," he said. "It's about refusing to let fear control you." From the skies above, the alien armada began retreating, their formations broken, morale shattered. Hundreds of ships withdrew, leaving the city in tentative silence. The alien gang scattered, leaderless and confused, and the police, humbled and cautious, no longer dared pursue them. For the first time in Varlock's history, a single human had outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and overpowered forces far superior in number and technology. The alien woman turned to Ethan, her voice steady. "You've saved more than me. You've saved the city." Her eyes shone with a mixture of relief and newfound respect. "And maybe the galaxy." Ethan shook his head, tired but determined. "This is only the beginning," he said, knowing the Armada would not forget this defeat. The real power of humanity was not in numbers or weapons, but in courage, intelligence, and the refusal to surrender. As dawn broke over Varlock, the twin suns glinting off the remaining ships and shattered buildings, Ethan and the alien woman stood together, looking at the streets below, battered but alive. Their bond, forged in fire and danger, was unbreakable. A sense of hope filled the air as citizens cautiously emerged, witnessing the impossible, the triumph of one human against overwhelming alien forces. Yet even in the calm, a shadow lingered far beyond the city. A new threat waited, silent and patient, watching humanity's cleverness with interest. Plotting its next move, Ethan glanced at the horizon, his eyes narrowing. "We've won this battle. But the war isn't over," he murmured. And with that, he took the alien woman's hand, ready to face whatever came next together. Their courage had changed the course of events, and the legend of humanity's bravery would spread across the stars, a warning and a promise to all who underestimated them. And so, in the heart of chaos, amidst destruction and uncertainty, humanity stood tall, unbroken, fearless, and ready to fight for the galaxy's future.